following the All-Star game.
I'm Frank Isola to the All-Star game.
See?
And never with you.
See? There it is. Welcome to PTI. Tony apparently couldn't be bothered, so here to pick up his slack is our great friend Frank Isola.
I'm here. Right here.
That's not as loud as it was in Seattle.
No, good point.
Let's start with last night's All-Star game in Seattle, not with the result, which featured the National League winning for the first time since 2012, but rather with Seattle fans courting free agent to be Shohei Ohtani by chanting, "Come to Seattle." Ohtani said he's never experienced anything like that and called the fans passionate and very impressive. Frank, how should the Angels feel about Shohei right about now, less than 3 weeks before the trade deadline?
Yeah, well, the Angels aren't going to trade him, but they definitely should be worried because he recently said winning is what matters to him most. This is the best player in the sport. He is yet to appear in a playoff game. And right now the Angels are a game under 500. The wheels are coming off. They've lost 13 of 17. And if you go back to when he signed with the Angels, the team that everyone thought came in second was Seattle. And we know all about Ichiro and his history up there. And Shohei has already said that he has spent the last 2 off seasons. He has spent some time in Seattle. But the team to watch out for is the Dodgers. It's on the coast. It is the Dodgers. They do win a lot more than the Angels do. And everyone thought there was a chance he was going to go there if the designated hitter had been in effect in the National League when Shohei was available. So the Angels, you want to talk about a nerve-wracking summer and off-season, they could end up losing the best player in the sport to the team in their own city.
Yeah, Frank, and they wake up today a game under 500, which is just staggering.
Yep.
And the Angels and how they've slumped. I think you told me just before we went on the air, 4-13 in their last 17. So if winning is the most important thing, and if he's tired of it, and then look, guys get pushed to this. We're going to talk a little bit more about Dame Lillard in a second. I'm sure he wants to win too. He got pushed by all the noise into talking about trading after saying, I'd like to be right here where I live. And Shohei has not been a malcontent. He's not a guy who looks like he's just shopping for a better situation, but Seattle could be a better situation. And the fact that he has spent so much time there the last 2 off seasons, I'm sorry, he could have driven up the coast and spent that time in Southern California. He's already in Southern California, in greater Los Angeles, as opposed to Orange County. He didn't do that. Seattle, what a great place to play, potentially, if you're Shohei, a great ballpark, a great community. He's familiar with it. There is that history with Ichiro, which he doesn't have to follow him directly now. There's been some time. So, wow. I mean, I don't know how you can trade him. I don't know how you can just say, take a walk. But, man, if Seattle, that had to, no matter what he said, that really had to touch him, Frank.
100%.
That response from the people in that ballpark, that's a wow to me.
Yeah, and you know, it's amazing, too. Here's a guy, the best player in the sport, and we've seen this in basketball. LeBron left as a free agent as the best player in the sport 3 times. This would be like Patrick Mahomes being available as a free agent. Every team in baseball is going to be pursuing Shohei Ohtani. But it is interesting, and he talks about the Mariners, who a few years back scored big in free agency. They thought they did. They signed Robinson Cano. That was a disaster for them. But he talks about winning. The Mariners have never been to the World Series. Back in 2001, they did win 116 games. They lost to the Yankees. So when I think winning, and I know a lot of people are going to think we're obnoxious about this, I think about the Dodgers. I think about the Yankees. I think about the Boston Red Sox. Is it going to be one of those teams?
Throw the Braves in there,
too. That's true, too. And the Houston Astros. But I think he's going to stay on the coast, the West Coast, that is. All right, baseball's pitch clock has been instrumental in shortening games this season, but the Players Association would like to soften the timer in the postseason. Executive Director Tony Clark suggested adding extra seconds, improving more timeouts, or allowing pitchers to step away more frequently, especially in high-leverage moments. Commissioner Rob Manfred has leaned toward keeping the current clock. Mike, would more time make for better playoff drama? I think we got your answer.
No. No,
you're wrong.
We've already, the players want to stay away from the drama. The drama comes when you are forced to get out there and throw the damn ball. That's where the drama comes in. Yes, you have nail-biting games that are 1-0 and 2-1 and 3-2, and that's to me the allure of the postseason. And I love the baseball postseason. over my lifetime more than any other postseason because baseball was my first love. No. Look, if they want to put 3 extra seconds on the clock, am I going to go crazy? No. Even as many as 5. But no, stepping away, extra timeouts, no. That's what baseball got away from, and it worked. So don't change what's working. What's worked is getting the game down closer to 2.5 hours. The more you, and I hate this phrase, slippery slope, Frank, but the more you do that, we're going to be looking at 245, 248, 253, 307. No. Get out there. Playoff baseball was playoff baseball for 100 years.
And it's
at
good.
2 hours. At 2 hours. You don't need 3 hours to have playoff baseball.
Mike.
Joe DiMaggio never played a game that lasted 3 hours. Neither did Jackie Robinson. They just didn't, so I don't want to hear it.
All right, we'll stick to the last 50 years. Here you go, Mike. Number one, things change in the playoffs. The closer sometimes pitches 6 innings because it's the playoffs. You just said how great the baseball postseason is, and what I love about it, it's a month. You know, you're playing all the time. Every game matters. They all take on a life of their own. I say get rid of the pitch clock altogether. The drama of the postseason. Mike, the games aren't all of a sudden going to take 4 hours. I'll give you an example. First of all,
they are.
When the Yankees used to play the Red Sox, those games, nobody cared how long they went. I looked it up.
I did.
Well, actually, our crack staff
New Yorkers and New Englanders didn't care. The rest of us gave a damn.
I'm going to give you a game. 1996, Game 5 of the World Series. You remember it well. Andy Pettitte, 1-0 over the Atlanta Braves. Great game. Only 1 run in the game. The game took 2 hours and 54 minutes. Did you need a pitch clock?
Rarity.
That is one of the classic games.
That's the rarity.
No, it's not.
That's 1 in
Mike,
a million.
the games have drama in the postseason. The regular season is different.
I know,
we got to get through it.
My point is, the drama's not going to be reduced because of the pitch clock. It's going to be enhanced. Enhanced. No, just play the sport. You don't need to be college football. Play the damn game. Throw the ball. We've learned that now.
Exciting.
You can't go back. Can't go back.
Yes, we
college football is once a week. And you tailgate and you got nothing to do and you sit around.
And it takes a long
college
time,
football.
like a baseball playoff game.
Doesn't need to take that long. And now to the NBA where Damian Lillard, got there. And James Harden have yet to be traded. Blazers GM Joe Cronin says it could take months to trade Dame, and that he hopes there's still a chance Lillard will change his mind and want to stay. And James Harden has reiterated his trade request to the Sixers, though many of his teammates are trying to convince him to stick around. Frank, Harden, Lillard, who's the best bet to stay put?
All right, I agree with you on this. Why don't we have a pitch clock on the Damian Lillard potential trade and get this thing over with? I think the guy most likely to stay is James Harden. Remember, he is under contract. Damian Lillard, I think, will eventually get traded. And, everyone, and the Miami people all want to see him go to Miami, which I think he'll eventually end up there. And Pat Riley, of course, gets all the great players. Damian Lillard got his money. Joe Cronin, guess what? He's allowed to look at it from the Portland Trailblazers point of view. And he's allowed to try to get the best deal that he can. And the fact that it hasn't happened in the last 10 days, excuse us. Kevin Durant did the same thing that Damian Lillard did, asked to be traded. It took until the following February. I don't think that's going to happen. But believe it or not, Joe Cronin, who you wouldn't know, I wouldn't know if we tripped over him, this is going to be the biggest deal of his life. Is he allowed to make a deal? And you know this too, Mike. You get multiple teams involved, it becomes a lot more complicated. It takes time. Damian Lillard, I still think will be on the move, but it's going to take a while.
Yeah, it's going to take a while, and it should take a while if you're the Portland Trailblazers. You got to get a real deal here.
That's right.
You got a job in the future. The whole world, just because, some of my dear friends like Stephen A. Smith want to holler about going to South Beach all the time. There's no reason if you're in Oregon to give a damn about South Beach or the Miami Heat. So let them either make the best deal or just sit there and wait it out. So good for Cronin for saying that. It is James Harden, the answer to our question. The other thing is, we know that combination can work, Frank. They got to Game 7, and they led that series 3-2. They got to Game 7 of the Eastern Conference semifinals. So we know that works. Portland, it's different because Dame is going to be replaced. The drafting of Scoot Henderson effectively starts the clock on that. And while I'm not going to say they do the same thing, they both occupy the ball and similar spaces on the court, even though Scoot can't wander out to 40 yet and eliminate Russell Westbrook and others. And Harden. So I get that, but man, Scoot Henderson looks like the real deal. Like Portland should say, here's the ball, son, have at it. We'll figure out where this is going in the next 3 years. James Harden and Embiid in a flawed Eastern Conference.
Yeah.
I don't think the Boston Celtics made themselves better in this offseason by getting rid of their heart and soul and Marcus Smart. I may be the only guy who doesn't believe it. I don't believe the Celtics are better. I don't believe the Celtics will be as good, and I don't know about Milwaukee. So if I'm Philly, I'm playing this hand, and if Harden wants to stay, I'm going to welcome him.
All right. Do you think there's a chance, and you know a lot of the players involved in this, is there a chance that all these point guards somehow could be involved in the same trade, where Lillard's going to Miami, Tyler Hero going somewhere? I'll give you another one. How about James Harden to the Clippers and maybe Chris Paul, who looks like he's being held against his will in Golden State?
No.
What if he ended up on Philadelphia?
He's not.
Wouldn't
First
Philadelphia,
of all, to stop that with Golden State,
I know a little bit
about that situation.
I could get him a starting job in Philadelphia.
No, he wants to be in California, not Philadelphia. His family's not in New York.
All right, then send him
Mr.
to the Clippers.
I-95. My God, having you and Kornheiser.
I'm trying to make him happy. He doesn't look happy in Golden State.
Is if I had reality too, okay? No, Chris Paul doesn't want to go east. He doesn't want to go to Philadelphia, even though he's from the Eastern time zone, from North Carolina. No,
you're right.
He's happy at Golden State, and they're going to make a run with that. Yes, multiple guys could be involved, but Harden is the key.
Yeah.
Does he want to stay there and give it another shot? And Philadelphia has to risk letting them walk.
You write one best-selling book on the guy, now you know exactly where he wants to live.
No, it's not. No, he wrote it. I was an editor.
Philadelphia would be perfect there.
No, Philadelphia is never perfect for anything. Is bookbinders
Get a pitch
even
clock
still
on Michael
open?
Wilbon's pitch to keep Chris Paul in
Where are we on the best New York Times best-selling list this week, by the way? Let's take a break, but coming up, Elias Diaz has hit the